is why wrestling sucks.
You a dumb, me tell you.
You a moron, I's right.
Just shut the funk up, baby, and let's have some fun.
Bienvenidos a Diosas y Cosas Hermosas, reparto.
This is why wrestling sucks.
You a dumb, me tell you.
You a moron, I's right.
Just shut the funk up, baby, and let's have some fun.
Bienvenidos a Diosas y Cosas Hermosas, reparto. El luchador grasa Lucas Walker. Además, el hombre peludo de Folk, Funkmaster V. Las mujeres tienen relaciones sexuales debido a la realización que viene de estos cerebros.
Well, Funkmaster V, I know you've had a big weekend, and it's been a couple weeks since actually a little less than 2 weeks since our last podcast of God Makes Beautiful Things here on OneGimmickWorld.com and the offshoots. You had played around with Dick Justice, huh?
Yeah, I was going to lead off with that, but you said you had some late breaking.
Yeah, I've got some stuff that's just. I mean, I know you hung out with Dick Justice, and we had True for Liberty Wrestling, and we had a great TV show, but I got something that trumps all wrestling. I got to share in a black ass moment.
A black ass moment?
Yes, this is going to be a segment I'd like to call
Big Luke shares in a black ass moment.
It was.
Is this a pornography or a donkey? What is it?
You know, if you don't know what a black ass moment it is, it's when a black guy actually has like a great moment in black history, but just himself. And I got to share in it yesterday morning.
I'm confused, but go on.
Okay.
Sounds interesting.
Yesterday morning, I am in Dollar General looking at all the finest shampoos and conditioners that $3 can buy.
Mm.
And I am trying to decide between, should I go for the Suave for Men 2-in-1 deal, or should I just splurge and get some Trace May Ooh La La, So I'm in deep thought here, because these are these are big fucking decisions in a man's life.
Right.
When around the end cap into my aisle comes this black guy, and he's an acquaintance of mine. I don't really know him. I think his name is Terrence, but he comes walking around the corner, and right behind him comes a white girl. Okay, and this white girl, she has got the entire I Date a Black Guy starter pack going. She has got the penciled in eyebrows, the braided hair, she's holding 3 2-liters of Diet Mountain Dew. She has got the white tank top with the titties that are like, the belly is 4 feet and the titties are 2 feet. And she's rocking this look so much that she's her dad is just like sitting somewhere with a gun in his mouth.
Does she have cornrows?
Yes, she has braids.
Okay.
And this actually has something to do with the thing. So Terrence walks by me. I think its name's Terrence. If I'm wrong, he won't listen to this anyway. And
screw him. Screw Terrence.
I'm standing there, and she says out loud, she goes, yo, hold up, I need some conditioner. She fucking says she needs some conditioner.
Damn.
And so
she's just trying to fit in.
So, me and Terrence, our eyes meet. And in my eyes, it probably says something to the effect of,
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
But in his eyes, he's looking at me like, okay, I know I'm a black guy. And you're a white guy, and this is a white girl, but, can I allow me to retort? And I give him the nod, I'm like, yeah, go ahead, man. And so he looks at her and says, what the fuck is conditioner? And she goes, and without missing a beat, this girl goes, conditioner for my her.
Good grief.
So Terrence looks at me and I give him another nod, and he goes, bitch, you are from Sevierville. You need some conditioner for your hair. And then he says, and why would you need conditioner for your hair? Because you have braids. And she says this. And this look. This is where it gets deep. This is where her cover gets a little too deep. She says
she got busted.
No, this is where it went a little off course, and one of those where you have forks in the road.
Yeah.
And it could go the domestic assault route, or this girl looks at him and says, "I'm thinking of washing my hair out." His eyes pop wide open. My eyes pop wide open, and then all of a sudden we went down that other fork of the road, and he just went, "God damn," and walked away, totally defeated because this bitch probably has money. But
is that his girl?
Yeah, that was his girl.
Oh man, he needs to do something else.
Yo, hold up! I need conditioner.
Well, I'm a jive talker, man, and I understand certain things, but man, some words are we just need to pronounce them properly, man. I mean, there's no need for that. You're not impressing anybody when you talk like that. If you're a white person, man, just talk like you. If you were from the hood, then that's one thing, but if, like he said, man, you're from damn Sevierville, just talk like a person, man. You don't have to sit there and act like you're from, if you're about to star in New Jack City 2 or something.
What he should have done is he should have went around the corner and just walked away from her, which he did walk away from her. She just happened to follow, and she didn't even get her conditioner. But he should have just walked around the corner, said, he's a pretty good looking guy, and he's got some dreadlocks, and he's in shape. He should have just looked around the corner and went,
"Hey, where are the white women at?"
And he could have done better. I guarantee it.
I think some people try to just show out.
Yeah.
I think people just try to show out. Well, it was kind of funny. We recorded an episode. The last one that we broadcasted was called The Lost Episode, and I just had this weird idea. One of my favorite comedy shows filmed intentionally a Lost episode, and I thought that'd be funny to do. It's just a little gimmick to make these different from one another. And weirdly enough, the very next week, we have actually recorded a Lost episode that nobody will ever hear.
No, because it said it was good. The first half hour I thought was really good.
Our energy was fantastic. It was like we were dancing partners that just won first prize. We were back and forth and funny and yeah. And then the third, like you said, the second half, we're just sitting there going, wrestling sucks and wrestling sucks.
East Tennessee wrestling sucks, but East Tennessee wrestling does suck. But I mean, there's some great stuff here. There's some great wrestlers and everything. But I mean, as a whole, you got this stuff, and we'll get into the into your segment here in a little bit. But it's Dick Justice came into town, and he got a little peek. I mean, he went and worked for one of the really good places, Ego Pro Wrestling. But he got a little peek into East Tennessee wrestling, and from what I understand, he sees it like I see it. He apparently just kind of felt.
The whole thing, okay, Ego Pro's anniversary weekend was this weekend, and this was...
We want to start this off with It Came from East Tennessee?
No, not this. This is... We have something later for It Came from East Tennessee. This is something that is a... This should... If you have something on your soundboard that is an SOS Morse code signal or some sort of battleship sound, we're in dire straits. There's about 4... I'm going to have a problem with this story. I'm going to stammer a lot. But there's about 4 ways I could get into this story. But I'll just say, Ego Pro, I'll do it this way. Ego Pro had its anniversary weekend this weekend.
10th anniversary.
10th anniversary. And this is like when last year me and you wrestled each other and you forgot how to do your full Nelson. That's when you were having those blackout moments. That was the match where you had to bring your instruction book on how to do the full Nelson. And people like that. And that was also the next night that we wrestled, because they do 2 nights down there. You were in the Battle Royal, and I don't know, you came out with toilet paper or something. And
yes, I did the Battle Royal, the Royale with cheese.
This is a tasty burger.
But anyway, that one's good. I like that one. Keep that one. Rate that one 5 stars. But anyway, this year I go down, and I'm excited because I'm in a 6-man tag team match with Barry Allen, the owner and promoter of Ego Pro, and he's the only guest we've ever had on our show for some reason. And
Because he's Barry Allen.
And I'm tagging with Dick Justice, which everybody, if you're an independent wrestling fan, knows. He's a guy out of Rochester, New York, who does a pretty good gimmick of he's like super cop, but he's overweight and he wears a fanny pack and he's pro-America. And
he's also on a great podcast called Joey Loves Dick on OneGimmickWorld.com.
He's a brother on the One Gimmick World front, so I got to hang out with Dick Justice quite a bit because he was kind of an outcast. And then Barry booked a couple of guys from $5 Wrestling, Dynamite and Freight Train, and apparently everybody
Hold on. Was Dynamite or Freight Train the one that I believe that wasn't actually alive? Because every picture I saw they said he was asleep, and I have a theory that there was a Weekend Bernie's type gimmick going on there.
Well, apparently this weekend ended up being just fantastic. Dick Justice had a good time. Dynamite cried. He was treated so well by Barry Allen and Ego Pro. Because I don't know. I guess people treat him like jokes or whatever. And they actually, Barry's a sweet guy. He's an agnostic, said he doesn't believe in God. But he's got the love of the Lord in his heart. And he took care of these guys. And nobody made fun of Freight Train or anything like that. So that's the good thing about East Tennessee Wrestling is a couple years ago at the 8th anniversary, Scott Hall and Cody Hall were there, and Scott Hall said that was the best locker room he's ever been in years, and because Ego Pro is kind of like a family. Not everything's perfect; it's not as good as it used to be. I'll be the first to admit that, but there is people do care about each other, and there's some, at least to everybody's face, there's a lot of niceties. There's a lot of people stab each other in the back, I'm sure too, but for the most part, that's the good thing about East Tennessee Wrestling. And people down here are real nice. In fact, that's where. So the problem that I have, and I'm sorry this is going to be a little bit of a long story, Luke, but the problem that I have with this story, part of it is because I was too nice.
Yeah. I'm
in a tag team match, 6-man tag. Jason Max, part of the Death Row Inmates, and he's one of our, I don't know if we should kayfabe it, but he's one of the creative people behind Great American Wrestling that me and Luke are a part of, the television show on Fox 43. He's been in the business, I think, about 20 years. Barry Allen is 30-something, and he's been in the business for, I think, probably 15 to 17 years. He's been in it a long time. I don't know, 15, something like that. He got in it real young. Me and Dick Justice have both been in it 9 years, and he's only 25. I don't know how these guys get in this business way younger than I ever did.
Now, I've never met Dick Justice in person, but I got a question.
Does he look like a bitch?
Well, the first thing he said to me, he goes, "Daddy." That's the first thing he said to me because I've got the big hair like he does. He goes, "Do you care if I call you Daddy?" I said, "Man, I don't care. Shit. You're not the only one. There's about 55 children running around East Tennessee calling me Daddy."
Are you my daddy?
So then you've got Brad Cash and Steven Burns, the Cadillac Cowboy, and from my estimation, they've been around the sport 6 to 7 years each.
And probably so. That whole tag match is filled with pretty much my favorite people in the business.
Okay, there was a point where every time I wrestled, I either wrestled Cadillac Cowboy or Brad Cash, and then if I was at Ego Pro, I was involved with Barry Allen.
Right.
There was no reason this tag match should have went to shit. You don't have one greenhorn. You don't have any maniacal egomaniac. You don't have anybody who's a spot crazy person who needs to call 1,000 spots. We all call the shit in the ring. We all work. Cadillac likes calling spots. But other than that, everybody else is basically.
Yeah, Caddy's a fast worker too.
And Caddy is not a spot monkey either. He's not somebody like the Youngbloods or Menace or Wayne Atkins.
And that's not saying anything negative about any of those guys. He
they're
makes some great wrestlers.
They're fantastic. But this is everybody's the same slow and southern heel versus babyface type walking talkers. There should be this should have been a slam dunk. Like we all said in the back, this should have been not a 5-star match, but this should have been a fun star match. I cut you off.
It's East Tennessee, so of course. What happened?
All right. So, and I haven't even told you yet because I told you I want you to have your reaction. Okay. Who have I left out of the match?
Let's see. There would be a ring announcer, there would be a referee, and there would be fans.
Okay. Well, fans are dumbasses to begin with, so they're fine. And the ring announcer, whatever. The referee. Okay, now, this is the sad part of East Tennessee at this moment. My friend, I went to high school with this guy. His name's Michael Fox.
One of the greatest men on the planet.
And not the one that shakes all the time, and not the time-traveling one. His name is Michael Sledge Fox. Has been walking with a cane for over a week because of what he did at a show a couple Saturdays ago. And he says, I can't ref anymore.
Which is a huge loss.
Now, you're talking about Michael Fox now is out. Hollywood Jack, I don't even know what happened to him. A lot of people didn't like Hollywood Jack, but Hollywood Jack was a competent, he never screwed a match up. I know he used to, Hollywood Jack was a guy who kind of screwed up heat sometimes because he would like push the heels and he would like buck up against the other wrestlers, and people didn't like that. But truth be told, he knew what he was doing, and even though he was kind of marking out for himself a little bit, he was a good referee. Spur, which is the guy that's mainly involved with the Knoxville Ice Bear hockey thing, he's a good referee. Mm-hmm. And then it starts to drop off quick after that.
Well, Drew Flanagan, referee No Neck Simmons, is really good, but he's being a referee while paying his dues to wrestle.
He wants to wrestle, and I got to tell you, this show coming up at Great American, 3 finishes out of 4 matches were screwed up because he made one mistake each time, and that's something that we'll address here in a second. So
right.
He's not going to be a referee much longer anyway because he's actually a pretty good wrestler, and he's going to pursue that. And that's the problem. You either have your referees are either people who are trying to be wrestlers or they're goofballs who can't be wrestlers.
Yes.
You don't have you hardly have anybody who's like, I love wrestling and I want to be an awesome referee. You never have that.
Hey, your vibrator's going off.
It's fun 30. Anyway, good grief, there's a housefly all over the place in here. Anyway, so the match starts off great. The crowd's into it. They don't really know who Dick Justice is, which I asked Dick. I said, I bet you go to these places and all the workers know who you are, and most of the workers probably love who you are, and then the fans are like, who's this guy? And he says it happens sometimes. There's sometimes where he goes and people are crazy for him and stuff.
But, yeah, but I mean, up in the Northeast, everybody knows who he is. They know his gimmick. He pulls out the finger gun.
Okay, listen, we had, and again, I'm going to expose the business, and I'm sorry if you're a true fan of if you want to remain ignorant, you can turn the podcast off. We didn't call shit, okay? I called one spot with Brad Cash because I'm in a Tully Blanchard kind of thing. Where I like doing a couple of his spots because I think Tully Blanchard is one of the most creative wrestlers ever.
I was in a Robert Gibson type thing once. It was horrible.
Well, we're not talking about that shit. Glass tables and the Boogie Woogie Man. But anyway, and then I called a spot with Cadillac where we were going to do a variation of the Johnny Saint special. We were just going to go gimmick crazy, man. Yeah. And then we had a Mexican standoff finger gun 6-man thing we were going to call, which was going to be fucking epic, where everybody was going to put down their finger guns slowly. It would have been awesome. The only shit we got to call, or that we got to do that we called, was the death row inmates, Jason and Brad, bought a dozen donuts. Mm-hmm. And he offered in the shine in the beginning of the match, Justice was getting the better of Jason Max.
Super Cop Dick Justice.
Super Cop Dick Justice. Thank you for that, for people who don't know. And the death row inmates who are, their gimmick is that they're prisoners. It is a great match. Fucking great idea. They offer him a donut. And what happened there, if you watch the DVD, it's good stuff. So we're having this fucking main event. We're going around. Main event, Luke. Main event. This is why this is also painful. And we get to a point, and there's a referee, and he hasn't reffed in a year. But later, Barry Allen said, thank God for him because none of my other referees showed up. Okay, just think of it that if it wasn't for this guy, we wouldn't have had a referee. Now, he comes to me, and I call the finish in the back. We're going up, do mounted 10 punches. We're going to Irish whip the bad guys into each other. They're all going to do the coconut thing, and we're going to do a triple schoolboy. And he's like, well, who do I call? Who do I count out? I said, get in the middle, use both hands, and count it out. That way, everybody can see that you're doing multiple counts, multiple 3 counts. Everybody goes home happy. The good guys win. Dick Justice is victorious. Death row inmates will have tomorrow night to get their revenge.
And everybody gets to see Dick.
Which I will pass on that. But so the guy looks a little lost, but I'm like, you know what? Just do the fucking 3 count. Whenever there's a 3 count, just do it. Okay, me and Jason are in the ring. After all of us have had a couple turns, it's going fine. It's not the greatest match ever, but we're having some laughs. And Barry Allen is wearing a blue singlet with a blue T-shirt and blue pants. Man, he looked like. In fact, Jason even said, "It's not Barry, it's Blueberry."
Blueberry.
He looked like the Willy Wonka chick, the one that ate the thing and it got real, like she was going to explode. Yeah, Veruca Salt, yes. So that cracked me up. We were having a great time. Well, the referee, and the other thing is too, and then I'll get to the point of this. We were supposed to have 2 hot tags.
Right.
It's main event, right?
Oh, yeah.
Give him a little extra. Well, Jason, and I'm taking the heat, because no offense to Barry or Dick, but, somebody's got a bump.
You trust yourself to take the heat. I understand that.
Yeah. So I'm taking the heat. So Jason calls, a spot for me to get over there and hot tag Barry in. As I'm in the corner, the guy comes up, the little referee says, we got to go home.
What? Why?
Okay. Well, you also know of a beloved character in his part of the country. His name is Mac McMurray.
Okay.
And Mac is a referee, tremendous guy. I'm not going to trash him on this podcast or anything, but he gave the kid the signal to go home. Now, the only problem I have is we're the main event of a big show with a guy that came out from out of town that they paid extra money for. And all of us, and the
That's
reason
not being recorded.
Yes, and exactly. And all of us, and that's why I said how long everybody's been in the sport, has at least been in the sport for 6 to 7 years. Some of us, 2 decades.
And Brad Cash at 6 or 7 years has, 20 years worth of experience.
Exactly. He's probably had more matches at this point in 6 or 7 than I have in 8 or 9. So anyway, all of that to say, Matt gives the go home spot, the Iggy, and the guy tells me we're going home right at that moment. Now, I'm too nice of a guy. I should have said fuck that, because it should be up to us to call the end of the show that night.
Yeah, you guys could read the crowd.
Yes, and we all could have. So, I'm the only one that hears go home. I tag in Barry. Barry goes in, starts doing his shit. The kid doesn't tell anybody else we're going home. He just told me that, and I've been tagged out now. So I go in, and a confused Dick Justice goes in, and we start doing the finish. And we're all looking around like, why are we going the fuck home? And it was a thing where we're all doing the mounted 10 punches, and everybody's looking at each other like, what the fuck is happening?
Right.
And so we do the gimmick. Half the guys don't fall right because they don't want to go home. And then here's the bad thing. We make a simultaneous pin. And we haven't done any of the finger gun stuff. We haven't done any of the other cool stuff. There was a spot that Dick Justice does with a song from Third Eye Blind or something. We were going to do that fucking thing. I don't even know what that is, but they were going to do it. So a couple of really funny things, good stuff that people would have enjoyed. We didn't do any of that. We're going home. So the referee, on a triple pin, goes over to count Jason Max, and he goes 1, 2, and he stops. And Jason goes, "Why did you stop?" And he goes, "Your hand's under the rope." He goes, "I'm reaching for the rope." Oh, then he comes around and he counts Brad Cash, who I'm pinning, and he counts 1, 2, 3, and it just looks like dog shit. I mean, it's just awful. Now, Dick Justice, after the match, I didn't get back in the ring. I just left. I was like, this shit's, man. You called go home, and when there's a triple pin, you didn't recognize the fact, oh, this is obviously the go home. This is obviously the finish. We get in the back, and the guy's a nice guy, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't matter. He fucked it up. Now, he did what Mac told him to do, which is good, but he fucked up the finish because it was obvious it was a triple pin.
Yeah.
And he just needed to do it. Now, I should have ignored the go home. Jason and I talked later that night about 4 in the morning, and he said, I've been in the business. I should have reset the heat. Shouldn't have done that, because we were all fucking pissed off. And to be honest, I think they were all pissed at me because they thought I blew the spot.
Right.
Because I was the one that was going through the go home proceedings, and until the kid admitted back there to Cadillac Cowboy and Dick Justice, oh, Mike gave me the signal to go home. So it goes all back to this.
And why are you giving the fucking signal to go home?
That's it. So here's the point. Now, Mac, I love Mac. Great guy. I love Mac. But yeah, he shouldn't have given that kid the go home spot. I mean, I don't know if he's reading the crowd or what, or he wanted to go home because he lives in Del Rio. He wanted to go home.
Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, no kidding. But still, I mean, Jason Max is in the ring. I'm in the ring. Barry Allen is in the ring. We can call this shit. Anybody, Cadillac, Brad, any of these guys could have called the go home. And engage the crowd.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're at. Is this kid, we're lucky to have him. He fucked up the main event. You bring in Dick Justice, and there was kind of I wouldn't say it was a national interest, but there are people who are all over the country who knows who I am because of this podcast predominantly, and they know who Dick Justice is because of what he's done. And you fucked that shit up. Plus, you had the death row inmates, and Cadillac are great workers, and Barry and all this. But we are at a point now. You scratch Michael Fox's name off, and no Nick Simmons, Drew Flanagan. You scratch him off. This kid got lambasted, and Dick Justice probably almost killed this kid. Dick Justice. That was the only time I've seen him mad. Now, overall, I think he had a nice visit, and I guess it's up to him on his podcast to go into what happens. But in East Tennessee right now, we have a crisis, which is we need good referees. So when Great American or Severe Attitude Wrestling or any of these groups start these training schools are supposed to, we need to actively go out and recruit people who are intelligent enough to be good referees.
Yeah.
Because there is a lack of good young wrestlers. Because really, Cadillac and Brad Cash are like the young guys, and
right.
They've been around for a minute. There's hardly any guy. You have the
Yeah.
School of Morton guys,
And High Risk is looked at as the new guys, and they've been around for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lack of newbies and greenhorns and guys that can carry this on. Because I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I don't have too many matches left in me. I mean, I'm 40, and I'm just not going to do it when I'm 50-something years old, because at that point I'd be embarrassing myself,
Well, I mean, we embarrass ourselves now at 40, so.
Right, and it would be worse at 50. And then these guys, there's no refs left, and really depressing. But so this is the thing too, and I'll just lay it all out here on the line. Right now, I'm editing this episode for Great American Wrestling. The referee, who will remain nameless, screwed up 3 finishes, and they all came to the count. And if you're a referee or an aspiring referee, do me a favor. Listen to this piece of advice. This will help you more than anything else. If the shoulders are down, count 3. If they don't kick out, honey, they'll yell at you in the back, but you know it's their responsibility to count 3.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, you know, it was always taught at the school and stuff that, you know, the referee has the decision. If you don't break the hold, you're gonna, you know, you get disqualified.
And since we're putting on television matches, for the love of Jesus, if you're a worker, look at the referee if you're being pinned, to know. Because what I've seen in this thing too, and also if you're a referee, this is even bigger than the first piece of advice: count the count out loud.
Yeah.
Because what happens, you have move, kaplunk, the referee falls, kaplunk, the worker who's being pinned is not looking because these guys taught the right way.
Some referees will hit, you know, when they hit the ground as their first count, and some will hit the ground and then count 1.
Right. So that's why you have to say 1, 2. Good wrestlers, good workers will sit there and look at the hand of the ref. And if there's a big move, let's say the heel hits a really nasty Samoan drop, and it was after a reverse, and it's just like, oh, wow, what a move. And the heel pins him, 1, 2, and watching the guy's hand kicks out at the last second. Oh, and you can feel the crowd going, oh, thought that was it. Wow. Instead of just another move and a pinfall, you've created something real with the audience.
Right.
At that point, they expected it to be done. In reality, they expected the match to be finished. And you tricked them. And that's what we're supposed to do as workers. We're supposed to trick these people. It's a way to draw the audience into the match and make them suspend disbelief. But yeah, referees, when you're doing the 1, 2, 3, man, count out loud, man. That's what you've got to. Because our friend No Nick collapses on the ground. The worker who's being pinned thinks that's the 1 count, then 2, and then if it's the finish, you know, the guy starts getting up off the guy, and it's like, wait a minute, I haven't counted 3. That's happened several times at the Great American Wrestling. So if you hear this or pass this on to anybody, just count out loud 1, 2, 3 every time. It's very important. Because if you fuck up the finish, you fucked up the whole match.
Oh yeah. Well, we're about halfway done here, so let's move on a little bit. We had a lot of success with our last podcast. It got over 10,000 listens on One Gimmick World. I don't know how it did on the offshoots, and we got about 5,000 views on YouTube. So thank you guys. That's probably has a lot to do with Brian Zane and Wrestling with Regret, and you know, Terry Landell. People hate his guts. But I was listening to on OneGimmickWorld.com the In the Rotation show where Vito and Ben and Paulie, and they had Johnny Kiss in. And
oh, that's your boy.
That's my boy. Johnny Kiss saved my life. I was choking on a fucking steak sandwich at a strip club, and he actually saved my life.
Now, Johnny Kiss is the guy that he likes giving deep tissue massages to guys.
Yes, and that guy lives his gimmick 24/7, and you know, said he's a fun guy to have around him. He'll cut a promo on, you know, me, him, and King Kong Bundy got kicked out of a fucking Shoney's, or what was it? And it was not a Shoney's. It was Old Country Buffet. But
I bet King Kong Bundy got kicked out of quite a few buffets in his time.
Could you see me and Bundy walking into a Old Country Buffet, and the worker just going, all right, you know, just stock it, fucking stock it. But I will say that there was one story that Johnny Kiss kind of went into that was a 100% true story, and it kind of was like your Steiner story, where we were backstage up at the Eagles Club in Oshkosh, which is for sale, by the way. Somebody buy it. And New Jack was there, and me and New Jack had spent probably the whole show talking about how to defeat Resident Evil 2 with just the survival knife.
Oh, cool.
But there was one point where Johnny Kiss, stupid ass, and I say that with love, walks up to New Jack, sees him there with the staple gun, and asks him, he says, is there really staples in that staple gun? And in your head, you hear this. Because you know what's about to happen. So there's about a 10-minute chase scene that went out to the crowd, came back, went up to the upper levels, where New Jack was basically chasing Johnny Kiss around with a staple gun and a paper plate. And he finally caught him and stapled it to his leg. But that I will verify for you, Vito and Ben and Paulie, that was a true story. Now, also based kind of off of our kind of the success of the things that we've been involved with lately, we went out to Truth and Liberty Wrestling, which is a great locker room, great show. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and Ricky Morton was there, and Sean Schultz, and Shane Andrews' dog, and Jesse Bell, and Shane Andrews' dog is like one of my favorite people. Shane Daniels was there. Cody Raines, a lot of good people. Joker and the High Risk, or not Joker, Christian Lotus and High Risk. A lot of great people in that locker room. Real fun show. But we were, it was intermission, and you go out with your mink coat on and everything, and you walk past this kind of young kid, and he recognized you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he said, "Hey, I know you," and I was like, "Okay," because you get that as a wrestler or whatever.
Yeah, because I already had about 5 or 6 people recognize me from the TV show. But
you had somebody today recognize you from the TV show.
Yeah, the friggin' guy checking my water meter. Are you Big Luke? I signed an autograph at my house.
And I don't want to bust your gimmick, but you live in a your gimmick at Great Americans. You're trying, your house is in disrepair, and you're trying to fix the hole in your roof.
Which
he probably was like, shit, this brother lives his gimmick. Yeah. But hard times for Luke Walker. But anyway, and that's why you're doing this. That's why you're getting paid with these sponsors you've been lining up.
Yeah, but I love life, man. You can't bring me down. Yeah, I'd love to have more money, but if I had $10 million, I'd have a nicer trailer in the mountains.
Well, anyway, yeah, this guy he was like, man, Brian Zane? And I was like, yeah, I know Brian Zane. He goes, yeah, man, I just started listening to Wrestling with Regret. I just saw your thing where you're in that skit with Jim Cornette. And I was like, yeah, that was pretty awesome. And I thought that we showed that on the last video, and I thought that was great, because Brian does a skit about how wrong Jim Cornette has been.
Right.
I'm a huge Jim Cornette fan, and almost everything he says I take as gospel.
He's very inspirational. He's a mentor to some people.
Yes, he is. He is a mentor to some
inside joke.
Yeah, but I love Cornette. But nobody's right 100% of the time. I mean, we're not 100. We say shit on this show all the time, and then later on you're like, fuck, we were wrong about that. We weren't wrong about a lot of things that have happened lately, but that's a different discussion for anything else. But anyway, this guy, I'm watching Brian Zane's shit, and me and Luke have a part in this one about Vince Russo, and I'm watching it. And to be honest, it's not as good as the one with Jim Cornette until the end.
Well, this is the one with Vince Russo you're talking about.
Yeah, Vince Russo. That's the one we're in, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not enjoying it as much as some of his other stuff until, as Vince Russo, he says something like, "I created Stone Cold Steve Austin, bro," and then kapow, Jim Cornette comes in frame with a right cross, and you're like, "What the heck?" It's like,
that was a moment that dude flew all the way in. Brian Zane flew all the way out to Ohio Valley Wrestling to record this thing just to have Jim Cornette. I mean, that guy's like I've said it before, and I'll say it again. That Brian Zane will be on your TV soon as a commentator, a writer, something, because that guy has got more talent than as a personality than most people in this world.
He's a shining star, baby, and he's a good thing about wrestling. And he's got I like his show because it could be 3 minutes or it could be 25 minutes, and when it's done, it's done. It doesn't feel like it has to drag out for a certain length of time or anything like that. I can't believe he flew all the way out to Ohio.
And kayfabed it for like a month.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he kayfabed everybody about that. But you're supposed to say, it's not in Ohio, it's in Louisville, Kentucky. Like,
oh, yeah.
The guy who was inspired by Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, my little session about the referees, and also I was wanting to tell, I was telling, thank you. I just got handed a $50 bill. I like when that happens.
Was it by a big-chested woman?
It was by a big-breasted woman. Even better. Hey, pimping ain't easy, baby. But we have a thing that we're going to talk about that, it's another segment that we like to call It Came From East Tennessee.
I think this is even more than it came from East Tennessee. I think this needs to be a
God Makes Beautiful Things exclusive.
Oh my God.
listen to that production, baby.
Beep, 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 beep. That's the Morse code coming in. We're getting a live telegraph. Go ahead. I want you to do this one. I think you misunderstood me. This is more your bag, and you're funnier than I am. So,
Well, first of all, this just in from the news desk. Let me click over here to Kayfabe book and read.
delicious.
This is fantastic stuff. I mean, you cannot beat this. This is the actual press release on the Tennessee Christian Wrestling. Yes, everybody, Tennessee Christian Wrestling.
I think it's actually total Christian.
No, it's
wrestling.
it's total Christian wrestling.
Yeah,
that's what we're dealing with in East Tennessee. And Donald Dixon, Nathan Stiles, whatever his name is the owner. And
he is the reason we're called God Makes Beautiful
Yes.
Things, because he took a picture of a man-made water wheel and dam and restaurant, and he made a meme that said God makes beautiful things. And I about pissed my pants when I first saw that, and I said that's got to be the name of the show. So he's the creator of this mess.
And here is, I've got actually two new breaking news flashes from him. First, breaking news: TCW fan. Hold on, want me to do this in a better voice?
Sure.
Breaking news.
TCW fans, we now have chairs.
Finish it.
So come on out tomorrow night and watch the best show in East Tennessee. TCW, TCW, TCW.
Okay.
Beautiful.
The best show in East Tennessee, TCW, 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 now has
Chairs.
chairs.
You don't have to bring your bale of hay.
Motherfucker, if East Tennessee isn't the primo place, this place is a fucking gold mine of shitty shit.
Well-
I fucking love East Tennessee wrestling. TCW has chairs, and it says at the front of the breaking news.
Breaking news.
I've been waiting all month to find out if they're ever going to get fucking chairs.
I was kind of, earlier this year, laughing at a promotion that was proclaiming they had air conditioning, but this is even, when you come out to Total Christian Wrestling, I was so sick of dragging all of my agnostic and non-believer friends and piling them up to sit on them to watch the wrestling show in an effort to convert them to Christianity, because, every time I feel like I'm close to Jesus, I've got somebody in a top wrist lock. But the second, this is the thing that is even better. That's funny. It's ha-ha. A breaking news. Breaking news is the word that's used. We now have chairs. But this is even better. The second announcement of the day, which was on Saturday.
Well, I don't even know if I've got the same one, but I mean,
I'm going to give it to you. Listen to this.
Got it.
Total Christian Wrestling, ready to rock, Newport, Tennessee. None of this has any type of punctuation. I'm just giving it to you for free.
one big long sentence without a period at the end.
Yeah. Don't go waste your money on any show. INY.
Yeah.
When you can go and come at the same time. When I go and come at the same time, it's normally I'm on the Foothills Parkway in a car.
But you're missing it. There is a third and.
When you can go and come and see the best show, TCW, TCW, TCW. TCW is lowercase, then there's a capitalized TCW, and then an all caps TCW. Tonight, it's almost like an echo.
Hold on, I will do it.
TCW, TCW, TCW.
That's exactly right. Tonight at 8 p.m. Bell time, doors open at 7.
2 R's in the doors too.
Doors.
No, one O.
Yeah. But the whole thing, because Jesus don't care if you can spell it or not. That's the cool thing about him. But the thing that I like is this is a Christian wrestling group, yet they still have the boasting that they are. Don't waste your money on any show when you can come and go and see the best.
Well,
you can go and come and see the best. So there's a sense of, I think the devil is already kind of infiltrated, and there's some vanity sins going on already with the TCW. But hopefully the baby faces can right the ship there.
Well, what they do, which is they try to paint themselves in this corner that most Christians, especially in this area, the hypocritical Christians do, is now they think because their name is Total Christian Wrestling, they think that God is on their side and that you cannot say anything against them.
You can't say their show sucks, or you're saying that Jesus sucks.
Yes. And and that's not a rib. They actually say stuff like that. You know, if you say, hey, your show sucks, you think you're great because you got chairs. And, there's another promotion that's actually kind of good in Newport called NGW. And they, draw pretty well at the Newport Armory. And when I say Newport, I don't know how to describe Newport to people from outside of this area. It is basically like a white trash ghetto. But Newport, NGW does pretty well. They got good fans. They're kind of like ETW, the East Tennessee Wrestling. East Tennessee Wrestling puts on a show in a small place that sits maybe 75 fans, but if they pack it out with 75 fans, and those fans are like old school ECW style. They've got a fun little show going. NGW is kind of the same way. This Taco Wrestling is not, and they're, said some of the NGW guys came on there and was like, guys, just knock it off. And they're like, well, God's with us and Jesus is going to burn you in hell if you are against my wrestling promotion.
Yeah. It's, you're either with them or, then you're going to be, and let's end the show. Do you have anything left?
I me, I could go on all fucking day.
I have one thing I want to tie in. Have you seen what's trending on Facebook, which is embarrassing as hell?
I have not.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. I can't even figure out how to get to that spot. But basically, out of Blount County, number one trending thing on Facebook. And I used to think this was, maybe the trending stuff is
geared towards you or where you live.
I used to think that, but University of Oregon is number 2. Have you heard of this? The Oregon Ducks are now going to have a football uniform that is inspired by the Oregon Trail.
Is somebody going to get dysentery?
I hope they have brown pants because of the dysentery. But anyway, maybe not. But anyway,
they're going to die from dysentery.
Yeah,
that's Terrence that I had the story about earlier.
See,
it was the white
you
girl.
You were kind of. She was dysentery.
Yeah.
See how this is how we're pro. We bring it all the way back around.
I would like to say one more time, Kerndershner.
Well, anyway, number 1, Blount County resolution proposed by the legislature here.
I've seen this.
To ask God for mercy over gay marriage legislation. The resolution calls on lawmakers to protect natural marriage from lawless court opinions and the financial schemes of the enemies of righteousness, and to defend moral standards of Tennessee. This is a proposed bill or law. This isn't some sort of statement coming out of some whack job religious group or whatever.
I might have to go into like the central town of Blount County and actually have a dude blow me out of principle. Just
hey, whatever you see, I'm a libertarian, Luke. Whatever you want to do, brother, that's on you. You can do that. I'm not going to judge you. I may not shake your hand very often anymore.
Well, no, he'll blow me, so it's not gay.
Okay, whatever you need, man. Is that Greek law?
I think so.
Yeah, I heard the tops were straight.
Yeah, it's
which
not
makes
gay.
total.
It's not gay. I pulled out.
Anyway, I don't want to take it down a dirt road. Hey, but they always say if you're on top, it's not gay. But to me, the top you'd have to be more gay. But I don't know. Now I'm just talking like an ignorant Blount County or But anyway, that's trending, and neither one of us live in Blount County or Blount County, however you want to pronounce that. But it's real close.
Yes, it's
It's
very...
too close.
Oh,
too
East
close.
Tennessee, you are a funny, fun place to live, man. I got to tell you.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful and horrible at the same time.
Yes, but I mean, the horribleness is so funny.
Well, and just to even, this is rude and unprofessional to you, but as I'm doing this podcast, it's going to be listened to by possibly 15,000 people again. I'm also on Facebook in an argument with somebody who had social studies homework that had to do with educating them on the Quran and what the Blue Mosque in Istanbul.
Yeah, because what you don't want to do is teach people a vast array of everything historical.
No, you don't. Like, name and briefly describe the 5 pillars of Islam. This is what a goofy ass woman responded. Now, they're not asking them to pray. They're not asking them to get on a mat and face Mecca or anything. This is just educational, so you won't be a dumbass when you go out in the world. You'll be well-rounded. You can talk to a Muslim person, maybe with this little stupid quiz on Section 3 on Islamic beliefs and practices continued. The homework assignment was written by the mother. This is a feminine handwriting. Of course, with some of these religious people down here, this might have been the husband, because it is awfully feminine-looking handwriting. But it says, "My son will not be a part of this in any sort of way. This is bad teaching material. He will not," underlined a million times, "partake. And if you have a problem with it, call our lawyer." Of course, there's no lawyer name or phone number provided. But apparently the lawyer's name was Ephesians 6:10, Isaiah 4, and his number as well. Isaiah 40:31, Mark 12:30, 2 Corinthians 12:9 and 10, Psalm 46:1, and Psalm 22:19. And she circles Islamic beliefs and practices. How about Christian practices? That sheet has never come home this year or last. And this is, and I'll let you finish the show, and I'll just shut up after this. But I don't want any teacher. We live in Sevier County, East Tennessee. It's beautiful. I like it. Like I said, it's like a hillbilly Vegas. It's like a gigantic amusement park with a meth problem. It's a wonderful conflicted place. Yeah, and moonshine. Free moonshine tasting here. There's 6 places that let you have 7 moonshine.
Yeah, you can walk from one end of Gatlinburg to the other end, which is about a mile walk, and be drunk for free.
Drunk for free.
Yes.
And there's only one person hit a week in the streets.
That's it.
That's pretty good. But I don't want my daughter, and this will probably piss off another group of people, but I don't want my daughter shooting a gun at school. In Pigeon Forge Middle School, as part of the PE, somebody was wanting to shoot or teach my daughter how to shoot a pistol in school. I'm not doing that shit.
Now, if a rifle or a shotgun for like target or skeet shooting, I could see that. If election, they drive them way off campus and stuff.
Not doing it. I don't want teachers. Listen, no disrespect. There's a lot of great teachers out there, but most teachers I know are weird, lonely people that I would not associate freely with in life. All the really good teachers that I've ever met are elementary school teachers. The ones in middle and high school, a vast majority of you guys are really knuckleheadly weird. Like the kind of the people like, "Oh, hi, how are you? I see you got a little glandular problem sweating out your armpits." But I don't want
nice hairnet. That's a real nice hairnet.
That's a nice hairnet that you're wearing at 9 o'clock at night. Yeah, that kind of thing. So I don't want anybody teaching my daughter how to shoot a gun at school, and I don't want anybody teaching them about Jesus or God or the Bible or their opinions on politics or anything. Or this is information. This is a way for you not to be a dumbass. They teach you about Islam. It's the second largest religion in the world. You probably should take it up and educate yourselves. And also if your children are so weak they're going to be swayed by Section 3 of your social studies assignment, then maybe God's not real, or your God's not real, or you're living a shitty life, and they're just going to rebuke your belief because you're a hypocrite. So, my kid can read this shit and still believe how she wants, I don't have to sit there and worry about, oh my God, maybe she'll become a Wiccan or start throwing lightning bolts.
I'm still in love with atheists that post daily horoscopes.
I am too. All right, man, that's an hour. Whatever you want to say, you say it. I'm done.
All right, well, I would just like to end this by saying...
Fat.
All right, how's that? Thanks, Scott Steiner.
Now we got to pay him.
Oh, shit.